Brain of Britain, the nationwide general knowledge contest, chaired by Russell Davis.
Thank you. Hello. Today we begin the semi-final stage of Brain of Britain 2023. I'm joined here at the Radio Theatre in London by 3 of our 12 outright heat winners from the series so far. And each of our semi-finals also includes one of the top-scoring runners-up across the series. Those of you with calculators will have worked out that there was a bit of a tie for those repechage places, and we've sorted that out in the way we usually do, with a run-off quiz behind the scenes since we last met. Let's meet our first 4 semi-finalists for 2023.
Hello, I'm Ian Fennell. I'm a former software developer from Kidderminster in Worcestershire.
Hello, I'm Gill Hollis. I'm from Lichfield in Staffordshire and I teach English to speakers of other languages.
Hello, I'm Colin Kidd. I'm an accountant from Bushey in Hertfordshire.
Hello, I'm John Robinson and I'm a teacher from Birmingham.
You're very welcome back. There's only room for one of you in the final, I'm afraid, so the best of luck to all of you. The pace hots up at this stage, as I'm sure you'll realise. The questions aren't necessarily harder, but the competition is self-evidently tough, and you might find it just that bit trickier to get in for a bonus than you did in your respective heats. The rules are the same as they ever were, so fingers on buttons. We start the first round with you, Ian Fennell. Which Pulitzer Prize-winning American writer who died in June 2023 was known for his works Blood Meridian, The Road, and No Country for Old Men?
Cormac McCarthy.
Yes, he died a month before what would have been his 90th birthday. What is signified by the word chipping in English place names such as Chipping Camden and Chipping Norton?
A quarry?
No. Colin Kidd?
Market.
It is market, yes, from kipping, an Anglo-Saxon word meaning market. Gill Hollis, your turn. According to the canonical Gospels, Jesus was arrested in which garden located at the edge of the Kidron Valley?
Gethsemane.
Yes. Treak Cliff Cavern in Derbyshire is one of only 2 places where a particular semi-precious mineral is to be found. What name is given to that mineral?
Blue John.
Yes, it's a form of fluorite. The other site where it's found is called Blue John Cavern, which would rather have given it away. Both sites are among the 4 show caves at the village of Castleton. The ampersand, or and sign, originated as a ligature of what 2 letters?
S and L.
No. Colin Kidd?
A and D.
No. Surely worth a guess. John Robinson, yes.
A and S.
No. Ian Fennell?
A and I.
No. I would have put A every time, but it's E and T. The origin of the ampersand can be traced back to the Latin word et, meaning and. Colin Kidd's turn. In which sport did the American Nellie Corder win an Olympic gold medal at the 2020 Summer Olympics, held in 2021 in Tokyo?
Swimming.
Not swimming. John Robinson?
Golf.
It was golf, women's individual golf event. And in 2023, Corder reached number 1 in the Women's World Golf Rankings. John Robinson, which annual international competition established in 1977 features events including keg toss, bar bending, and vehicle pull?
The World's Strongest Man.
Well, yes, the world's strongest man. 2023 champion is Mitchell Hooper from Canada, with Britain's Tom Stoltman as runner-up. There's also an annual World's Strongest Women event. Which British writer, activist, and actor who appeared in all 6 seasons of the drama series Peaky Blinders is the author of a best-selling book of poetry for children called Talking Turkeys?
Benjamin Zephaniah.
Is right. In the name of Chatbot GPT, Microsoft's AI chatbot released in 2022, what do the letters GPT stand for?
Generative, pre-programmed Transfer?
No. Does anybody want another go? Yes, Colin Kidd.
Generative programmed. No. Pass, I don't know.
This is where we break down, isn't it? Yes, no, nobody knows. I'm not surprised. No, it's generative is right. Pre-trained is the bit that we're going. Generative pre-trained transformer is the full answer, and that's the end of round one. Here are the scores, with everybody having scored. Ian Fennell and Colin Kidd 1 apiece, Gill Hollis 2, John Robinson 3. Ian Fennell, back to you, and you're about to hear Ty Parvis perform a song written by Marvin Hatley for a 1933 Laurel and Hardy movie, released in the UK as Fraternally Yours. The US title of the film inspired the name of the International Laurel and Hardy Society. After you've heard Honolulu Baby, I'd like you to tell me what that fraternity is called.
Kissing Cousins?
No. Colin Kidd?
Sons of the Desert?
Sons of the Desert is the name of the fraternity, yes. Honolulu Baby was issued on the B-side of Stan and Ollie's posthumous hit single, The Trail of the Lonesome Pine, which reached number 2 in 1975, and jolly good too. Gill Hollis, published in the 1970s, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, and Blubber are among the best-known works of which American writer?
Judy Blume.
Yes. The game of camogie is a 12-a-side women's equivalent of which men's sport?
Rugby.
No. Colin Kidd knows?
Shinty?
No. John Robinson?
Hurling?
Hurling, yes. The name camogie is from the Irish Gaelic for a crooked stick. Colin Kidd. In 1972, John Young, Charles Duke, Gene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt were the last people to do what?
Walk on the Moon?
Yes, on the Apollo 16 and 17 missions, respectively. Which English queen is buried in Peterborough Cathedral?
Catherine of Aragon?
Yes, Mary Queen of Scots was also interred there after her execution at Fotheringay Castle, but her remains were moved to Westminster Abbey 25 years later. Who was the main architect of the distinctively shaped Sage Concert Hall on the bank of the River Tyne in Gateshead, which changed its name to the Glass House in 2023?
Norman Foster?
It was Norman Foster, yes. Although there is speculation as to true authorship, which West Indian is credited with writing the cricket sci-fi novel Bonaventura and the Flashing Blade?
Jules Verne?
No. John Robinson?
Viv Richards?
Not Viv Richards, no. Ian Fennell?
Gary Sobers?
It was Gary Sobers, yes, indeed. The plot centres around Clyde Bonaventure, a brilliant young scholar from Barbados who programs a computer to select a cricket team and train them by feeding in ideal cricketing instructions. I have a feeling John Arlott would have avoided it. John Robinson's turn. Now, at the Brit Awards in 1995, the drummer Dave Rowntree picked up a record 4 awards as a member of Blur with the word Dave written on his cheek. This was a reference to which other performer who, as part of a dispute with his record label, had turned up with the word slave on his own cheek?
Jarvis Cocker?
No. Colin Kidd?
Liam Gallagher?
No. Gill Hollis?
Noel Gallagher.
No. Ian Fennell going to have a go? No. Prince is the answer, and that's the end of another round. Scores have advanced in this way. Ian Fennell 2, Gill Hollis 3, John Robinson 4, and guess what? Colin Kidd 5. Ian Fennell, the town of Corleone is on which Mediterranean island?
Sicily?
Sicily.
Sicily.
Yes, had to be, didn't it? Corleone is, of course, a name immortalised in the Godfather films. I went there once, and it seemed to be full of old men playing chess. but I'm sure that was just for show. In 2021, Lewis Hamilton became the 4th Formula One racing driver to be knighted. Can you name any 2 of the previous 3?
Jackie Stewart, Graham Hill.
No. John Robinson?
Jackie Stewart and Sterling Moss.
Those will do. The one that's always forgotten is Jack Brabham. Sir Jack Brabham, yes. Gill Hollis, here's some music for you. Over the years, we've played more than one recording of the Errol Garner standard Misty. Here's one of the more unusual versions, a country music arrangement, which was a top 10 hit in 1975. I'd like you to tell me the name of the singer, best known for his comedy and novelty songs.
Look at me, I'm as helpless as a kitten love tree. I'm walking on a cloud, I can't understand, Lord. I miss the holding your hand. I walk my way, and 1,000 violins began to play.
Ray Stevens.
It is, yes. His other 1970s successes included Bridget the Midget and the #1 hit about people taking their clothes off at sporting events, The Streak. In 1908, the Japanese chemist Kukunai Ikeda coined which word translating roughly as delicious taste? Out of time. Colin Kidd?
Umami?
Umami, yes, typified by savoury foods rich in nucleotides and glutamates, such as cheese, meat, fish, and mushrooms. Umami sits alongside salt, sweet, sour, and bitter as one of the 5 basic tastes. Colin Kidd's turn. Mount Logan, Canada's highest mountain, is located within the Kluane National Park Reserve in which territory?
Northwest Territory?
No. John Robinson.
The Yukon.
Yukon, formerly called Yukon Territory. The mountain was named after Sir William Logan, a Canadian geologist. John Robinson, its site now a National Historic Landmark. What name is given to the massacre of at least 250 Lakota people by US Army troops in December 1890 in South Dakota?
The Battle of the Little Bighorn.
No. Ian Fennell.
Wounded Knee.
Wounded Knee, the massacre of, or the Battle of Wounded Knee, yes. The soldiers had been unnerved by the ghost dance performed by the Lakota people. End of another round. Here are interesting scores. Ian Fennell and Gill Hollis each have 4. Colin Kidd and John Robinson each have 6. And it's time to pause the contest for a minute or two to give our contenders a bit of a rest from the fray, and also to hear a couple of intriguing question ideas from a Brain of Britain listener. Today, we've chosen questions that were sent to us not long ago by Rhian Williams in Abergele in Conwy, North Wales. I'm going to invite our contenders to chat about Rhian's questions between themselves and come up with the answers if they can. And if Rhian succeeds in beating the brains, she'll win a book voucher. If all 4 of you are ready, here's her first question. In October 1283, the Welsh prince Dafydd ap Gruffudd, who had led Welsh forces against invading English King Edward I, was executed for his part in that rebellion. His death is thought to have been the first high-profile example in these islands of what specific form of punishment?
Could it be hung, drawn, and quartered? Or...
It's quite popular.
Yeah,
That sounds like a good
Might be
bet.
too early for guillotining.
yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we happy with that?
Yeah, let's go with
There's lots of options, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we try, we'll try hung, drawn, and quartered.
You try well. It was. Hanging, drawing and quartering. David was dragged through the streets of Shrewsbury, tied to a horse, then hanged, and then some other truly horrible things happened before his 4 limbs were all sent to different towns and put on public display to deter others. This gruesome punishment became statutory for males convicted of treason from the 14th century onward, and it was only repealed, which is not to say it was still in regular use, in 1870. Well, you'll be pleased to know Rhiann's second question is less bloodthirsty, but there's a thematic connection. Can you name 2 Welsh-speaking prime ministers in the 20th century? And because this is potentially a trick question, I should give you the clue that they aren't necessarily both British prime ministers.
David Lloyd George, I think, is one, isn't he? So presumably the other one is...
Prime Ministers of Canada or somewhere, or Australia.
What about Helen, the New Zealand lady who came from South Wales, who came from Bridgend? Or was it Barry?
Wasn't she Australian?
The New Zealand Prime Minister.
Not Jacinda Ardern, no.
No, a bit before her.
Before her.
Julie Gillard.
Julie.
She was Australian, I think.
I've got a feeling
Is she the one?
Has she got Welsh ancestry? I don't know. I haven't got anything else.
I don't think it was Jacinda Ardern. I think it was
No, I
Julie
don't.
Gillard for
I
that.
can't think of any Canadian prime ministers.
Should we go for Julia Gillard?
Yeah, go for that.
Yeah.
Julia Gillard, we say.
And
David Lloyd George.
David Lloyd George.
David Lloyd George, British Prime Minister from 1916 to 22. He's the easy one. The other one is Billy Hughes. William Morris Hughes, Prime Minister of Australia from 1915 to 22. Both men were present at the Paris Peace Conference of 1919. And interestingly, neither of them was born in Wales. David Lloyd George was born in Manchester, Chorlton-on-Medlock to be precise, and Billy Hughes was born in Pimlico, London. So well done, Rhiann. Thank you for those questions, closely related to your place of origin and mine, which our brains couldn't quite deal with in full. Your prize will be with you very soon. And in addition, our audience here in the Radio Theatre will send you on your way with this perfectly executed round of applause. We love seeing the ingenious ideas we receive for this part of the programme. The easiest way to get your questions, suggestions to us is by email at brainofbritain@bbc.co.uk. Sadly, we don't have room to use more than a small fraction of the ideas we're sent, but we do read everything with great interest and we will store them up for consideration next year if there isn't room to include them in the remainder of the current series. Let's get back to the contest then, before our brains get too relaxed. Fingers back on buttons, and here we go with your next question, Ian Fennell. Tony Benn, Harold Wilson, Ian Botham, Barry Norman, Magnus Magnusson, Fred Truman, Eric Morecambe and Stephen Fry are among the many people who have won which now discontinued annual award?
No idea.
Okay. Colin Kidd?
Pipe Smoker of the Year.
Is the right answer. Yes, the award given by the British Pipe Makers' Council. Warren Mitchell was the winner in 1967, but he declined it, saying it was silly. I also use a lavatory brush, so you might as well make me lavatory brush user. Okay, Gill Hollis. In the BBC television sitcom Miranda, starring Miranda Hart, which actress plays the role of Miranda's mother, Penny?
I've forgotten her name.
Out of time, I'm afraid. Ian Fennell?
June Whitfield.
It wasn't on this occasion June Whitfield, no. No? No more guesses. Yes, John Robinson.
Imelda Staunton.
No. Shaking of heads, no. Patricia Hodge, it was. Colin Kidd, some audio for you as we dip into BBC Sounds with Voices of the First World War, a Radio 4 documentary series from 2018 presented by Dan Snow. It features archive interviews with those who experienced the conflict. Here, Keith Officer recalls the moments just before the armistice. A question will follow.
There'd been one German machine gun unit giving our troops a lot of trouble, and they kept on firing until practically 11 o'clock. And at 11 o'clock, the officer stepped out of their position, stood up, lifted his helmet and bowed to the British troops, fell all his men in the open in front and marched them off. And I always think it was a wonderful display of confidence in British chivalry, because the temptation to have fired on them must have been very great.
World War I ended at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November 1918, when Germany signed an agreement for peace earlier that morning in a railway carriage. In which town of northern France?
Compiègne.
Yes. I probably pronounced Compiègne, I believe, but anyway, you're right. What was the name of the flagship of Christopher Columbus upon his first expedition to the New World?
Santa Maria.
Yes, in full, La Santa Maria de la Inmaculada Concepción. Harrison Ford made his 5th appearance as Indiana Jones on the big screen in 2023. But which actor had been first choice for the role back in the early 1980s when Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first in the Jones franchise, was released?
Burt Reynolds.
No. John Robinson?
Robert Redford.
Wasn't, I fear, no. Jill Hollis?
Dustin Hoffman?
No. Ian Fennell? No.
The guy who played Magnum P.I.
Yeah, that's the one. With a tash.
A name, please.
I haven't got a name. Sorry.
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck, yes, you're right, who couldn't accept because of his commitment to the Magnum TV series, and the rest is history, but just a little too late, I'm afraid. John Robinson, an antitussive medicine would be used to treat what? Ian Fennell knows?
Hiccups.
No. Colin Kidd?
Coughing.
Coughing, yes, it's specifically coughing. And that's the end of that round. Ian Fennell 4, Gill Hollis 4, John Robinson 6, Colin Kidd now 10. And rather amazingly, but distressingly, I have to tell you that this is the final round of the contest, starting with you, Ian Fennell. In 2021, which player became the first £100 million footballer in English football?
I can't even think of an English footballer.
Colin Kidd.
Grealish.
Remember the other name? I'll give it. Okay. Grealish is right. Jack Grealish.
That's it.
Yes, signing for Manchester City. Grealish originally joined Aston Villa at the age of 6. He couldn't keep his socks up then either. Now, Gill Hollis, the Place du Théâtre, a popular tourist spot where artists set up easels to paint, exhibit, and sell their work, is in which historic district of Paris?
Montmartre?
Yes, it is. Referencing a lyric from one of their songs, Parsley, Sage, Rosemary and Thyme is a hit album from the 1960s by which performers?
Simon and Garfunkel.
Yes, the song in question being Scarborough Fair. Which confidant of Edward IV was arrested and beheaded within minutes on the orders of the future Richard III during a council meeting held at the Tower of London in June 1483? No. Colin Kidd?
Piers Plowman.
No. Oh. Anyone recall this? No, I think not. It was Hastings, William Lord Hastings, and dramatised very effectively by Shakespeare, of course, in his play, Richard III. Colin Kidd, which English cheese, first produced in the 20th century, stayed on the market just under 10 years before being withdrawn from sale?
Limeswold.
Yes. Words meaning a fear of all things Chinese and a fear of dogs sound the same, though they're spelled differently. What's the word?
Sinophobia.
Sinophobia, yes. S-I-N-O for China, C-Y-N-O for dogs. Which entertainer who died in 2023 called the first volume of his autobiography At My Mother's Knee and Other Low Joints?
Michael Parkinson.
No. John Robinson?
Paul O'Grady.
Paul O'Grady is the right answer. Yes, and it's your question. You're about to hear an extract from the poem The Natural World, created for a community rewilding scheme established as part of the late Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. It's by a spoken word performer whose BBC Sounds podcast became the first podcast from outside the USA to win the radio industry's prestigious Peabody Award. Can you name the performer?
I am the natural world. It serves my needs, my words, my deeds. I'm a part of nature, like the birds and bees, like the ferns, the seeds, the dirt, the trees. We complement each other perfectly, giving each other balance and certainty. Just look around. There's life everywhere. The sky, the earth, the sea.
Akala.
No. Gill Hollis?
Stormzy?
No. No more offers? Nope. It was George the Poet. First established in the 1940s, the Peabody Award is reckoned to be the radio equivalent of the Pulitzer Prize. That brings us to the end of this first semi-final of Brain of Britain 2023. And the scores are these. Ian Fennell, 4 points. Gill Hollis, 6. John Robinson, 7. Colin Kidd, 13. Which means that Colin Kidd becomes the first of our 2023 finalists. Warm congratulations to you, Colin, and we look forward to seeing you again here on this stage in a few weeks' time. My thanks also go to the other 3 for terrific performances across the series. Join us next time for another semi-final, and thank you for listening today. Goodbye.